I train mainly at Hayling Island for my running, and it's really flat. So what can I do to stimulate some hill running type advantages whilst being here on a very flat terrain? So today I'm going to go and do some rucking, and I'm going to put weight in my rucksack. And I might just for good measure take a resistance band because I couldn't stop and do some exercises on the beach. I can incorporate some strength and conditioning work into my run. You'll see when I get out there's lots of places, and also I stop on the way back and get some shopping and do a farmer's carry all the way home. So yeah, it's just about being inventive and using different ways of getting your hill training running stimulus into your flat training.
Well, one thing you can guarantee at Hayling Island, it is more often than not very windy. It is, after all, the home of windsurfing. So I can use it to my advantage, and you can go running into the wind to create some additional resistance. I've got a log on Hayling Beach, I find, and I go to it and I do some step ups, as you can see here. This is from a higher drop side, so it creates a little bit more range of motion and an additional stretch and strength requirement. Here I'm adding an eccentric lowering into it just to add an extra bit of time under tension. Here I'm doing some box jumps, not really sticking the landing here, which is the intention of the exercise, like there, but then my camera didn't stick the landing either, did it? So let's have a reset and go again, and here you can see I'm sticking the landing a lot better, but also I'm doing the box jump with a step down and then back to the box jumps with a jump down. Slightly more difficult, this version, but it's just great to challenge yourself in different ways. So here I'm taking the plate out of the bag, out of the rucksack. This occasion I only took a 2.5 kilogram plate, which is quite difficult to hold overhead. And here I'm just doing some squats with reaching the plate out in front, so I'm working the front delts here. The good work for the glutes and the hamstrings and the quads. Great for mobility and activation. Holding the plate out in front like this just also encourages me to stay a little bit more upright. Adding a second dimension to it, working the shoulders as well as the lower body. And here we're going to go into some RDLs with the band, and using the band, the resistance is greater at the top of the move. I've come over to the log, the reason being, if you are concerned ever that you are not using your hips enough in this exercise and your knees are going forward, it's turning a bit more into a squat, you can put something behind your calves, just so you get that feedback that your shins are staying vertical. Now here I'm doing some lunges and pressing the plate out in front. So again, it's a great stability exercise, as you can see, because we're on an uneven surface, which is fine. I'm not going to try and make it easy for myself. At the end of the day, I'm training for stand-up paddling, which is really inherently a balanced sport as well as a strength. So using exercises like this where the body has to overcome the chaos that you're creating is really great. Another version of using the resistance band, I find it just creates a bit more resistance doubling up with it in this way, but in all honesty, for this I think I would want to use the slightly thicker band. I've got black band as well, which I would use for more single leg RDLs, and this time we're on my left leg, and I do have ongoing nerve damage. I've had spinal surgery, which, as you can see, I do find a little bit more compromised in the balance, and activating my glute medius has always been something that helps. You'll see this in a minute. I'll give it a really good cue actually. Again, these are great for stretching the hamstring and helping activate the muscles required to balance, but we're also working the shoulders and the rotator cuff. And on my left leg, not too bad really. So obviously raising the back leg, we're aiming to get it as high as we can, and we want to externally rotate it. Now you see that there, I gave my glute a good old whack and look at the difference it made. I just cued my central nervous system that needed to focus, and it worked. I've got a specific ultra trail running rucksack that I'm using for my rucking because it's designed really well to sit comfortably and carry a fair bit of weight, but you can still do trail running with it. And I would recommend that you use something like this. This only weighed 5 kilograms in total today, this rucksack, so not a huge weight, but obviously I have thrown in some strength and conditioning exercises as well, which you'll see in a minute. Pull down. So, running on the shingles. The shingles here at Hayling Island are great for running on to create an additional stress on the calves in particular, and that provides that adaptation that hills normally would. That's really useful, and that running into the wind. And here you see I've got the rucksack on now, and I've come back to doing the step ups onto the log. Yeah, I'm on the lower side here, so they do look a little bit easy, don't they? So let's get around to the opposite side where it's a much higher step up and see how those quads cope with this. So really effective, adding that weight against gravity. You've got to overcome inertia and gravity to get up onto the log and extend the knee, which is working the quads hard, and extending the hips as well. That's working the glutes and the hamstrings. Well, I think we all know what running on stones or sand is like. If I do run on the sand, I tend to make sure it's relatively firm. The walk back from the shops is about 1.5k, where I do a farmer's carry all the way home, just to add that extra stimulus. I've just come to a different day. This was actually before the day I did the rucking, and I didn't have the rucksack on this occasion, but I've got some additional exercises to show you of what else you can do to give stimulus to the legs when you don't have hills to train on. As I said already, running on the shingles is a super way to give your legs an extra stimulus and drive adaptation, and running on the sand, and obviously it's really beautiful as well. And here I've got another log I find for some step ups. Everywhere you go you can find something. You've just got to be creative really and add in whatever works for you on a day. Now here, these are really challenging for me. Not on this, yes, on this leg. This is my left leg. So the Patrick step downs, actually these are Poliquin step downs I should say, because we're on a slant board. And again, the Poliquin step down using my right leg, slightly easier. What a beautiful location to come out and do some strength and conditioning work. You can't argue with that, can you? The feeling of working out already adds those endorphins and helps me do these eccentric pistol squats, which are really hard for me. I'm not yet strong enough to do a full pistol squat, so I drop down in the eccentric and use the double leg to stand back up. You can see there I've been doing some bounds up the steps and some single leg work as well. Now my double bounds should have been a little bit faster if I really wanted to utilise the stretch shortening cycle. Now we just got a nice little bit of run on the trails, and trails is a really good way of working your core. It challenges your core as well because you're constantly working over uneven ground. So there you have it. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video today. If you did, please like and subscribe, and check back because we'll be adding some more footage on training for trails, running, triathlon and stand-up paddling. Have a great day guys. See you soon.